We are Man vs. Meeple, and for December 5th through December 11th, this is What's Next.
Welcome back to What's Next, the bi-weekly show where David and I walk you through all of the games coming to your friendly local gaming store. We're going to be covering a 1-week period this time, and coming back in another week. We'll cover another week up until Christmas, just because there's so many games coming out right before the holiday. We are going to start off with number 5.
Yeah, you have number 5.
I do. This one is called Citadels, the 2016 edition. This was originally released in 2000. So it's been 16 years that this game has been out.
And it stands the test of time, too.
It does. It is a 2 to 8 player game, plays in about an hour, ages 10 and up. It is being released by an offshoot of Asmodee called Waybright Games. This is the second game in their collection. Citadels is basically a card drafting set collection style game. Players will be assuming roles, and in turn order they'll be enacting those roles, trying to build buildings. All the buildings have special abilities, and a lot of the roles key off of the buildings that they are building or constructing at that time.
I had a chance to play this at Gen Con this year, the new version too, and it's a really beautiful update to the game too. The artwork, which has always been good, but the new artwork is really fantastic. That crown too, the first player marker, the king crown, is really, really nice. This is a good one. I didn't own the previous versions, and this is one that I definitely want to try to pick up.
So this game comes with the 8 original roles, 10 roles from the Dark City expansion, which was the first expansion, and then some new roles that are just for the new Citadel.
Yeah, so this one kind of epitomizes the version that you'd want to have, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Number 4.
Yeah, number 4, we have Aeon's End. We've talked about this before. This is a co-op deck builder.
Yeah.
And as we've said before, we've looked at a lot of deck builders this year, and every time you hear deck builder, a lot of people are like, oh, that's all right. But this one's really unique. Not only is it co-op, but the game gives this really strong vibe where you're fighting these boss characters. This is the biggest hook to me.
Yeah, I agree.
These boss characters, you play a different one every time you play if you want. And when you get to it, the boss plays so differently than the last one. And it's not just about the cards that come out or the cards that are part of the boss's deck, but some of these bosses have complete other boards that come out on the board. So it's a totally different experience. And it really gives this feeling, you and I have talked about this, like a Metroid or Castlevania sort of like where you're really trying to figure out, okay, how do we approach this boss?
Exactly.
Yeah, this game is really fun. Also, the timing involved with this, they have this sort of delayed, when you're attacking the boss or attacking any of the monsters, there's this delayed phase sort of thing where you're attacking through portals. So it's not as simple as like dumping all of your cards out on your turn.
So you're basically casting a spell and then waiting for it to come back around before you can enact it or another player at the table can enact it for you.
Exactly, and it makes it a little more interesting because so many deck builders, you're just kind of like, well, here's my hand. What can I do? And this one, you're kind of having to plan ahead a little bit like that.
Very cool game.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Number 3 is Oracle of Delphi.
You love this one.
I do. I really like this game. I'm a huge Stefan Feld game, as you are.
I am.
This is a bit of a different game,
It is, very much so.
If you're used to points in your Stefan Feld games, you've got another thing coming with this. It is a race game, and pick up and deliver, of course. But it has a lot of those same sort of Stefan Feld buttons, I think, that gets pushed. You know, if you've played Castles of Burgundy or many of his other games, you'll see some similar mechanics involved. It's all about dice. You're rolling them. There's lots of ways to mitigate them. Those dice do a number of different things. Basically, they power every action you take in the game. But like I said, at the end of the day, it is a pick up and deliver game. It's a race game. It can end pretty abruptly, but it still feels like Stefan Feld, and that's why I like it.
Can you imagine if they did Castles of Burgundy in this style?
Oh,
you'd lose your mind.
Oh, with the new art, with new artwork and really colorful. Oh yeah, I would.
I have number 2, and it is called the Manhattan Project Energy Empire. This is another game in Minion Games' line of Manhattan Project, although it is a standalone game.
Right.
It is 1 to 5 players, 120 minutes, 13 and plus. It's a worker placement game, which are my favorite type of games, period.
Indeed.
So in this one, you're basically managing a nation, and instead of what Manhattan Project brings to it, which you are trying to manage war, you're managing the pollution that comes from managing an energy empire.
That's what I liked about this. probably the most is that player board where you have all this opportunity to either keep a clean environment or just let it get polluted.
Yeah.
I mean, in most cases, I think you want to keep it pretty clean.
Right.
But in a lot of the games we've played, there's at least been one player or maybe more that have, some nuclear fallout laying around and stuff like that.
And we always speak about resource management and building tableaus or engines of abilities and that you can key off. I know you love that portion of the game. We both do. Being able to build this tight little engine that feeds off your industry and your commerce and all the government buildings that you have.
Yeah, as long as I don't get sidetracked and just use that engine the entire time and then lose the game, which I generally do. But yeah, this has a great mixture of really good worker placement too. There's some interesting mechanics where you can power up your worker placement along with that engine building. Is a really superb game.
Fantastic game. Number one, a game that I never expected I would like and didn't really want to like. It's called Star Wars Destiny.
Oh, you wanted to like this. It's Star Wars.
It is a 2-player CCG style game. Now, we both saw this at Gen Con, and we both did not want to like it. It looked a little bit kiddie, but this one is hit with force, no pun intended. It is a really, really solid game that derives itself off of a CCG element, in which you'll be buying packs and adding to your deck, but it's a combat-driven game that involves dice.
Right.
And it's very tactile, it's very smart, and it plays in about 15 to 30 minutes. So you're in and out immediately. And the great thing about this game, a lot of people say, I don't want to buy into the whole CCG format. These 2 starter decks that have Kylo Ren and Rey are playable right from the start.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of gameplay right in those. They're very balanced in the way that they play, and you don't have to go and buy a ton of booster packs in order to enhance it.
Most of the games you and I have played with this were with the Rey and Kylo Ren starter packs. I know you've since bought an entire garage full of dice.
I do, right.
But yeah, it plays really good with that. And the other thing about this is I never felt like it was a completely luck-driven thing. Like when you're rolling this dice, you see this dice and then you play it and you realize, oh, this isn't about like, I lost or won. You're really just kind of using those dice in concert with the cards to do what you need to do in the game.
Right.
So it never feels like just a luck fest.
And we talk about mitigation of dice too.
Yeah.
You can mitigate the dice just by discarding cards and rerolling them, which is a fantastic idea. Great game. We realize this game is allocated right now, so a lot of people are having difficulty trying to find it, and eBay prices have skyrocketed. Wait. Every 2 weeks, FFG is allocating more product to the distributors and then to the retailers, so go check that out. That is our top 5. Come back in a week because we're going to have another top 5 before Christmas.
We will.
But before we go there, we have another friendly local gaming store that we wanted to talk about, and this one is called Family Time Games. They're local to Indianapolis, too. We're trying not to be partial to Indianapolis, but we live here, and we love these stores. This is a giant store. They just came into existence in November of 2015.
Yeah, just last year. They had their 1-year anniversary just recently.
That's right. It is an 8,000 square foot store.
Yeah.
Huge store, right? They have over 60 events every single month. And every day, even Mondays through Fridays, they have about 60 to 80 people in the store. And that's no joke. They really have that many people playing.
It is really, they've done a great job of getting the word out and getting a community built around their store. Because every time I go in there is a tremendous amount of people. And they have a fantastic slew of game tables, really nice ones, a lot of which they built themselves. And the place is just full. They've hosted a couple events, too, that we've been a part of it. IndieCon, where they had a bunch of people in there for a full weekend playing games.
Right.
So they've done a really good job. He's doing even more with it now.
Right.
He wants to put a cafe and stuff in the back. And there's a whole area that he hasn't yet even developed. So it's only going to get better from here. So big congratulations to Shane over there at Family Time Games.
Yeah, guys, if you're in the area, go check it out. They have a huge assortment of games, too.
Yeah.
All types of games, miniatures, board games, card games, everything you can imagine. So we also want to announce one other thing.
We do have an exciting announcement.
Yes.
Starting with this episode and going forward,
Yep.
we're going to give one of you the chance to win one of the games that we discussed in our top 5.
And you guys decide which game it is that you want to win.
Right. So what you need to do is find our post on Facebook where we've posted this video, comment on that post. We'll run a contest like we have on our channel times before. This time, though, if you're the winner, you get to pick one of the 5 games that we went over, and you will win it.
Yeah, it's
Simple as that.
It's a great opportunity. So every 2 weeks, we'll be giving away a new game of your choice that's hit our top 5.
Right.
So anyway, guys, come back next week for our next What's Next segment. Have a happy holiday if you don't come back until after the holidays, and make sure we have just a couple days left in our own Kickstarter. So please go check that out.
Go check that out. Watch our channel. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Yep. And if you guys also wanted to be on our game list for from the local gaming store, make sure you guys submit your information to us on Facebook, and we'll get you guys entered in. So thanks again, guys. Check us out next week for What's Next.
Bye-bye.